Man, I love summertime. You got the sunshine, beaches, pool parties.
And you look really cool in sunscreen.
Hey, safety never goes out of style. Right, Dr. Jeff?
Right.
I was so wrong.
Where are you guys off to?
It's summertime. Time to lay out in the sun.
Want to join us?
I gotta finish updating Perth's software, but have fun.
More of a winter guy, huh? Suit yourself.
Why is it so cold outside?
Did you guys check the weather?
It's June. It's always hot.
Ah, you're confusing weather with climate.
Oh. Wait, what's the difference again?
This seems like an investigation waiting to happen. I'm Dr. Jeff Vineker, and today we're gonna explore the difference between weather and climate. We'll explore what makes weather different from climate. We'll look at the instruments used to measure and predict the weather, and we'll see the different types of climates that exist around the world. With Dr. Jeff. Welcome to Labracazam, where we make science make sense. So, do you two feel better now?
Warmer, yes. Better, no. I'm so bummed it's cold outside.
So, we have a mystery. A freezing day in the middle of summer. What do you think we can do to investigate this?
We could compare today's weather to recent weather and see if there are any patterns.
Great idea. Let's try it.
Here we go. On Monday, the temperature was 55 degrees Fahrenheit, but on Tuesday, it went up to 70 degrees. And by Thursday, it was up to 90 degrees. So that means by Friday, it should be
1,500 degrees.
What? No. He's still updating. In other words, the weather varied or changed pretty significantly day to day. Weather is the day-by-day variation in the atmosphere's condition locally. Now, what do you think we can compare this data to get to the bottom of this mystery?
What if we look at the weather for over a long period of time? I'm talking years, even decades.
Let's try it.
All right, here's a chart averaging the last 10 years of weather in the whole region. It looks like the 3 hottest months have consistently been June, July, and August.
That makes sense because all those months are in summer.
So based on data, we were right to assume that today was gonna be a hot day.
That seems really logical, but that guess was based on climate, which is different than weather. Climate is the variation of weather conditions over long periods of time. This means that the summer climate is a pattern of days that are hot, but it doesn't mean that each day will be hot. The daily weather varies.
Okay, so now I understand the difference between weather and climate. Weather is the day-to-day variation in the atmosphere, which can change a lot. But climate is the average weather over many years. So where does all this data come from?
Great question. To better understand that, let's
Break it down!
Actually, I was gonna propose we go on a field trip, but if you wanna break it down instead, then...
Field trip!
We are here at the local weather station at KTLA in Los Angeles, California. This is my friend Vera, the local meteorologist. A meteorologist is a scientist that studies the atmosphere to predict and understand the weather. Hi Vera, are you gonna tell us about some amazing scientific tools they use to study the weather?
I sure am, Jeff. Great to be here with you.
Awesome.
Well, the first thing we have is this is a full-blown weather station, and I always get really excited about this because this has all the tools in one area. It has a thermometer, an anemometer, a barometer, and also a rain gauge. But we're gonna talk about each one of these individually.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is a digital thermometer, but you guys are probably familiar with the thermometer your mom uses to take your temperature, right? Yep. So a thermometer is simply a tool that's used to measure the air temperature. Sometimes you see them in people's backyards. Let's talk about the rain gauge. So the rain gauge is an instrument. It's placed in a specific area, and it will collect rain or precipitation over an extended period of time, and that's how we measure the rain.
So what are some areas that get a lot of rain?
Well, funny you should ask, Dr. Jeff. I've got an interesting fact. So on the Hawaiian island of Maui, one particular month, The rain gauge collected 109 inches of rain. 109 inches. Do you know how much that is?
A lot?
A lot.
than
That's like
this.
almost 9 feet of rain in 1 month.
That's like the height of a ceiling in an average room. Wow.
Amazing, isn't it?
And how much rain do we get here in Southern California?
Unfortunately, Dr. Jeff, that brings me a lot of sadness because we don't get a lot of rain in Southern California. In fact, right now we're going through what's called a drought, and that means when we don't get the rainfall that we need to sustain our environment.
So tell us about the tool that Zoe's holding.
It looks like a giant compass, doesn't it? But it's not. That is actually a barometer, Dr. Jeff. And you guys, on the barometer, we get the measurements for pressure. And when pressure rises or falls very quickly, it indicates a change in weather. For example, when the pressure drops very quickly, it means we're going to get rain most likely.
So tell us about this tool. It's got a little fan up here.
It does, and that is what we call an anemometer. It measures wind speed, and in some cases, like this big weather station, this one measures wind speed and direction. And if you happen to be a pilot, that's really important because you need to know when it's safe to fly and when it isn't. And the wind speed tells you whether it's safe to fly or not.
Well, I think that covers all of the tools. Thanks for teaching us about weather instruments, Vera. It's been enlightening. My mind's no longer foggy on the subject.
I think we're good with the weather puns.
Oh, well, thanks for raining on my parade.
Now for the question that everyone wants to know, how do meteorologists make predictions? Let's check it out with some real-world science.
So Izzy, this is a really important part of my job because this is where I collect all of the information that I need to build my maps and to tell what the forecast is.
Awesome. So we learn what kind of weather data is collected, and we learn what tools are used to collect the data, but how are they used to make forecasts?
Well, we get a lot of information and data from satellites that are up in space, but then there's a whole team of scientists and meteorologists that all work together. They read that information, they interpret it, they compile it, and then we all share it.
So how do we make predictions?
Well, we take all of the information that we gathered from the tools that I just showed you. We look at the maps, we look at the satellites, and then everybody shares the information. And then that way I can tell you that it's going to be sunny and warm tomorrow while my friend who lives in Colorado is going to be dealing with a lot of cold, wet weather. All of these people working together and sharing information helps us tell you whether you need a jacket or whether you need to put on a pair of shorts.
We all seen weather segments on TV. Now let's see how it's actually done.
Well, Izzy, it all starts here on the green screen. When I hit my clicker, that green screen will go away and it will be replaced by any image that I ask for it to pull up. For example, wherever you see an area of high pressure, the big H, that means we're gonna have happy weather. That means it's gonna be sunny and warm and beautiful. And where you see this is an area of low pressure. And that means it's gonna be a little cloudy and a little sad, and we're all going to feel a little low.
Look at that! Where'd my body go? That's what I get for looking so good in green.
That was so cool visiting the station today. Now we know where all the weather data is collected.
Remember, that was just one station collecting weather in one part of the country. But to gather enough information to predict the weather, you need to collect data across a large region. Each of these pins represents a weather station somewhere in the world.
Wow, there must be thousands.
With all the varying regions across the globe, there are many different climates out there. Let's look at some of the extreme examples. Oymyakon, Russia is the coldest inhabited place on Earth, averaging minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit during the winter months. The town even installed a brand new thermometer recently, but it got so cold that it broke.
The Atacama Desert in the country of Chile has the driest climate in the world. It's only rained there 4 times in the last 37 years. It's so dry, in fact, that NASA compares its climate to the surface of Mars. They even tested their Mars rover there.
And Commonwealth Bay, Antarctica has the windiest climate on the planet. With an average annual wind speed of 50 miles per hour, winds during the winter regularly exceed 150 miles per hour. The climate is like one continuous year-round blizzard.
So while today's cold temperature was just examples of weather in our area, those are examples of climates from all across the world?
Labracazam. Now let's kick it over to Zoe.
Today, we're going to make our very own wind vane so you can collect weather data in your own backyard. To start, we'll need 1 plastic straw, 2 paper plates, a pencil with a new eraser, scissors, tape, a poster board, a straight pin, a ruler, modeling clay, and a table fan. First, write the directions of north, south, east, and west along the edges of an upturned paper plate. Make sure the letters are spaced equally apart on the paper plate with the directions in the right order. Use the scissors to cut an arrow tail and point from the poster board. Make sure that the arrow tail is much bigger than the point. Next, take the straw and make inch-long slits in each end with the scissors. Then slide the arrow point and tail into the slits, creating an arrow. Next, stick the straight pin through the exact center of the arrow and into the pencil eraser. Make sure you leave enough space on either side of the straw for it to spin. Now, stick the pointed end of the pencil through the center of the paper plate and into the modeling clay, which will act as a base. Finally, tape this plate to the second paper plate, facing right side up with the clay base inside. If you're doing this outside, you can use a compass to align north on the plate to north on your compass. Now it's time to test your wind vane using your table fan to act as the wind. As the wind blows, the vane will spin, pointing in the direction that the wind is blowing. Changes in wind direction often accompany changes in the weather. You can also use stronger materials like wood, metal, or plastic to make a more permanent version. Use it outside and you can be your own meteorologist. Try it yourself.
Now, let's review. Today, we learned that weather is the day-by-day variation of the atmosphere's condition locally.
Climate is the year-by-year variation of the atmosphere's condition over a large area.
And scientists record weather patterns across different times and areas to make predictions.
Ready for another nice cold day. Ah! Why is it so hot outside?
Looks like someone forgot to check the weather.
Here you go, Dr. Jeff.
Thanks, Izzy. Join us next time on Labracazam. I'm Dr. Jeff.
I'm Izzy.
I'm Zoe.
Remember, always question, always wonder.